speaker is Adjunct Professor Calvin Pressley.
Hi. Everybody hear me all right? Come on now. Everybody hears me good? Cool. Cool. Hi. I am Calvin Pressley. Nice to meet you. So my section's down here, 5'11", 5'12". Holla at it sometime. Get my notes out so I remember what I'm going to say. Alright, so this is a quick little slide just kind of telling you about who I am. I wanted to try to include as much as I can about myself, but also give you a nice little talk about a couple of paintings and just my mindset on paintings and things I've been kind of going through for the past 8 years of being dedicated to making art full time and teaching it. So I was born in Tucson, Arizona. Really briefly, I lived there. I don't remember anything about it. Quickly after I moved to English, which was pretty awesome. So those were like my earliest memories living in England, living in Panama. And then from Panama, I moved to Wichita Falls, which was like culture shock. First time living in the U.S., as far as I can remember, and it's like a small town. Anybody ever been to Wichita Falls? Yes. Nothing too major there going on the whole time. But there was an Air Force base, and that's what took us there, because I was a military brat, so we moved to Wichita Falls. I liked it. In Texas, we moved to San Antonio shortly after living in Wichita Falls for a few years, and went to UTSA. Anybody from San Antonio? Couple. All right. UTSA, stand up. I wanted to come to UNT because I knew that the drawing program and the art program here has always been talked about, has always been phenomenal. But it wasn't my time yet to leave San Antonio. I ended up starting a family there and took my family to Philadelphia, to where I got my master's degree at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. Really phenomenal campus, right in the middle of Philadelphia, lots of energy. And I wanted to go there because, let's see. Oh, this is my drive from Oklahoma. So I currently live in Oklahoma City. This is my drive. So I get to see the sunrise and sunset driving back and forth from Oklahoma City. But I went to Philadelphia because in my artwork, I was kind of doing more abstract stuff at the time, and the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts had a history of doing really kind of traditional figurative work, and I wanted to see what edge that could bring to my abstract mentality. But yeah, so this is I-35 between Denton and OKC. I commute here from Oklahoma City now, so I woke up about, I think it was about 4:30 this morning, so I can get here on time, because this is my dream job, you know, and you work hard for your dream job, and like I said, when I was younger, I wanted to come to UNT, and now I get to teach here, so it's pretty phenomenal. So the drive's not too bad when I get sunrises like this. The one today was pretty awesome, so I got a lot of energy for this talk, which I was pretty excited about. So anyways, my talk is kind of more about focus today. I am going to talk about a couple of paintings that include that, but this is like something I've been thinking about for the past few months during the drive, during my teaching in the lab, during my own studio practice, this idea of focus. And I wanted to kind of share that with you as you are starting your careers as artists, as art students, whether you end up going in the direction of doing graphic design, or you want to be a studio artist, or anything of the sort. I had a focus of being a studio artist and teaching art from very early on. I knew I wanted to kind of go all the way and get a master's degree, and I wanted to be able to teach and paint as much as I can. Safe to say now I'm kind of starting that path. I feel like I'm actually getting to where I saw myself getting to when I started that path, if that makes sense. The second two are kind of a combination, so it's like know what you want out of various situations and know what you don't want. So I've had a lot of jobs kind of trying to get to where I'm at now. I worked at Starbucks for a while, I did flooring for a while, I worked in a warehouse for a while. I had a lot of jobs to get to where I am now, all the time going to art school, and it was a struggle. So I also have a 10-year-old son and a wife, and having a family, part-time jobs, in school, it's no joke. I don't recommend it if you can afford it. But it's also super rewarding, so I do recommend it if you can handle it. The last one is set yourself up for it. So the whole time with keeping this focus, I've wanted to just really set myself up for this moment right now, to be able to talk about my vision in art and how I kind of go about making my paintings and stuff. So here I am. This is one of the early paintings that I did back in my UTSA days. I was really interested in abstract work, like I said, but I also wanted to figure out ways to combine the figure with that. So, let's see, this is a pointer. So if you can see in here, there's a couple of legs that are hanging down under this pot. And you can kind of see the feet there at the bottom. Sorry about that. So this is like a reference to a song called Strange Fruit. Has anybody ever heard the song Strange Fruit? There's a few different versions of it. I think Nina Simone is probably my favorite version of it. Billie Holiday also sings a phenomenal version of it. But that song kind of inspired this painting. I was using a lot of mixed media on this. There's pieces of Gorilla Tape, there's canvas stitched together on top of the painting, and most of it is oil paint. And that was back in 2016. That was just before moving out of San Antonio. But I was really excited when this one got included in a show that got to show at the McNamee Museum in San Antonio. That was my first time showing in the museum, so I was pretty stoked to share this painting with them. This is kind of the start when I kind of sort of wanted to get more of my own identity in the work. So I thought about my relationship to sports and basketball, and how I never really felt the same dedication to playing sports. And I felt conflicted about that because I'm a certain height and I have a certain athletic build where it was kind of expected to me to do sports and play basketball, which I tried, and I like to play now and I like to play then, but I was never as dedicated as I saw myself being in art. So I thought of a way to kind of keep that still in my life and do what I really love, which is paint. So these two paintings, this one and this one, both the same size. They're about 6 feet by 6 feet. So this is like the first time that I'm working on a really large scale, and I really fell in love with having my body just respond to that size of a canvas. This is also when I was getting more into oil paint as a sole medium, and not using a lot of the other materials like the tape and stuff like that from the previous painting. The reason I did that with the tape was just to kind of alternate the surface for me as I was kind of navigating and experimenting with paint. Nowadays, it's pretty much all flat surfaces, and I don't even really use the house paint anymore. I did use that before as a way of speed and also cost of materials. House paint is a lot cheaper, so if you can paint with that, as you're kind of figuring stuff out, it's even cheaper than like some of the acrylic paints that you buy at the art store. I still have an interest in doing all types of art though. I call myself a painter, and I've always felt more comfortable calling myself a painter than an artist. But every once in a while, something's called for other materials. So it was one time I went to a steel yard just to try to find stuff to paint on really. But I found these metal discs that were just kind of heavy, they had a really heavy weight to them, and they were just really awesome. So I bought them there. They were really cheap. It was a scrap yard. And I had an uncle that was doing some like welding as a hobby, and he helped me do these weld marks on there to make them look like basketballs. And I still have this piece, and I really love it. I keep it on the floor in my studio. And one thing I really love is when I did show it at a couple galleries. Well, I showed it at one gallery, and now as it's in my studio, when people trip on it, that's my favorite thing. It's like it really announces itself in that way. But yeah, I like the idea of like these balls being really flat and heavy and not able to bounce and shoot with and stuff like that. Back to what I was talking about with focus. See, I put these little slides in here to regain my focus. Once I get to on a tangent with like certain pieces, I can overexpand. Back to focus. So with the jobs that I worked, as I mentioned, I worked at Starbucks. There was a lot of opportunities for me to clean the restroom for them there, which I kind of became like a go-to guy. I don't know if it was because I was usually closing or opening, working the really odd shifts, but I had to clean the restroom a lot, and I just really hated that. I hated cleaning the toilet. Nowadays it's fine, like I understand the work that I got from it and everything, but in the situation, I was really frustrated. I was like, man, I just want to be in my studio. But I thought about it, and I was like, I could turn the negative into a positive. So I was actually in the bathroom cleaning on the clock at this time. Don't tell Starbucks. But I took some photos while I was in there, just kind of had my own photo shoot so I can have some references. And I did these drawings because I knew I wanted to make a painting about a figure kind of just becoming the restroom, becoming the space that he works in. So that's why on the left one is a little bit more ingrained into the space. You can tell the scale's pretty off, and he has no legs because they just kind of disappeared into the space as he becomes it. So I tried to paint it, and it just was not happening. Like, I'm only showing this slide of these like really horrible looking paintings because this is like in the process. I was actually losing sleep over how this painting was coming along. One thing I'll point out is that you can see the source material there. This is a photo shoot picture on the side. But anyways, I was losing sleep about how this painting was coming along, and I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. I kept on like trying to add color and seeing what I was trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. And then there was one weekend where I came back after having a couple of days out of the studio. I came back and put this whole wash of yellow over the whole thing except for those bugs. And that's the moment when it just became like exactly what I wanted it to be. The figure's been pushed back, he's become the space, and it has this kind of really like venomous yellow. It kind of looks a little different on the screen up there, but it's like really venomous yellow on there, almost urine-like, and a little bit of shadow just for depth and stuff like that. So that's how that painting developed, and I just really wanted to share that one because I still have that painting in my studio too, and it's a phenomenal one to look at. So set yourself up for it. How many of you are like wanting to be like studio artists, making your own stuff, or how many like graphic designers are there? Studio artists, it's quite a bit. Graphic designers, quite a bit. I think no matter what field you kind of go into, you're always going to want to have like your space to work in, where you can get into your own mind. So I'm just going to show some images of my studio. This is where I work at right now, which is actually a garage that I've just kind of been using as a studio. And I'll still go out there sometimes when it's freezing, when it's like, I've been in the studio when it's like 28 degrees, and I've been in the studio when it's 104. It's pretty tough, it's pretty brutal, but you'll do it for what you love. So I would paint in the house, but my wife gets mad when I get paint everywhere. So when I first started off, I would have everything spread across the whole kitchen floor and living room and everything like that. But eventually, once I could afford to get the garage, I started moving stuff out there. Eventually, I'll have like a really big, nice studio once I have like sponsors to pay for it. But for right now, I set myself up, and I do a lot. Like as you can see, the table, there's a lot of paint, a lot of brushes. I do a lot of experimenting with different mediums. I'm not really set on any specific painting brands, but as I continue to evolve as an artist, I'm always getting a little bit more specific on what I want to use. Just like as I started way back when I was using mixed media, and now I've got to do that down to just the paints and stuff. So it should be your happy place, you know. Just you should be able to be exactly who you are in your space at whatever point in time you're in there. So you can have all types of emotions, and I always say to lean into all the emotions. Because if you lean far enough into the good ones, then the bad ones won't be so bad. And they can inspire certain works like this one, which is the newest painting that I've completed over the past past few months of teaching and driving back and forth and thinking about my own emotions and my own faces that I kind of make and stuff like that. So there's a few, when you see this painting in person, there's a few like hidden Easter eggs, my son calls them. So there's like the sunset, what's happening like that I see on a daily basis, driving back to Oklahoma City. And I think just living in an area where it's so, like the horizon is so expansive and flat and you can see for miles, it just really opened my eyes to all these different colors that happen in the sky. So if you ever get a chance to drive like an hour and a half north, you'll be in like the perfect spot for it. Just time it right so you can be at the sunrise or sunset. And there's a lot of blues in this painting because I did get more specific on that, where I did want to just focus on blues. Something about blue and all the various shades and tones and hues and saturations of blue is really exciting for me to explore. And I felt like it could be something that can transition me to other colors. So there's this really energetic greenish blue that's been like kind of coming into my mind a lot more lately. And he's actually in this like mouth down here too. One of the Easter eggs I was talking about is like down here inside the mouth it says listen to the rain. Because also during this drive and different moments I've stopped on the commute, I've gotten a lot more closer to nature and just being able to sit with nature when I actually make time for it. So if you don't get enough time off of your phones and away from screens, and just to get like 5 minutes outside with the sun. You try to do that on a daily basis, even if it is like super freezy and windy outside like we had yesterday and today. But yeah, so that's like a picture of my studio back there in the background, and then some information right there if you do want to contact me about any questions about work. I didn't want to show like too many paintings, but I do have a website that I can pull up real quick, just so you have an idea of what that looks like. I like how you did that. But I do have like a lot of work on there, and I try to keep it pretty updated. It's just my name, CalvinPressley.com, and quick artist statement, and a lot of things. Like I said, I didn't want to go through everything because there is a lot to kind of cover. But I hope you enjoyed what I was able to show you, and contact me if you have any questions and stuff. I think we have time for, do we have time for it?
We do.
Any questions from anybody at all right now?
So what makes you want to use, like, I noticed you use a lot of like difficult mediums, like welded metal, you use like these heavy paints, you use like duct tape with like all the same colors, so you only have texture to work with. What kind of like makes you want to work with like these things, some of these really difficult?
Work with like kind of difficult materials. I guess it's for me a way to kind of push myself and explore within painting. I do a lot of research, so that's like the main component of creating art. I think we were just having a discussion about that. I research painting and painting's history a lot, and humans have been painting for a very, very long time. I think all the way back to the cave paintings. And I think about my place in that. How can I bring a new edge or kind of just something extra, but also take everything that's kind of came before me. I just try to implement these other materials, alternate the surface, or mix certain things in. A lot of times what I'm doing with right now with color is trying to achieve certain colors that I don't see very often in a lot of old paintings and a lot of other paintings today, or even in nature. I try to find colors that just feels fresh, basically, and I think I was doing that with the materials before I started focusing more on color.
Especially with the yellow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a really strange relationship with yellow. Being biracial, like in growing up as a kid, being called yellow, and like looking at The Simpsons and thinking I'm not yellow, you know, but I'm mixed, you know, I'm black and white. So there's a weird like dynamic with yellow, and anytime I get to paint with yellow ochre, it's like really, I just look at it like, hey man, I got you, you know. Any other questions? That was a good one. Thanks, Sean. All right, contact me if you do want to talk some more about work or follow me on Instagram and stuff like that. We can chat there. I will hand it back to Rachel.
That's all I got for y'all today. Have a great final week of class.
I was